Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. And I am a little bit giddy. I guess Spirit wanted me to continue my channel so that it would have been a sad ending of here's a spiritual awakening, and then you get to a void, and then you just fall off a cliff into obscurity, and that's that. I guess Spirit wanted you to see that there is life after a spiritual awakening. Life is starting to kick off. For the last week, I have felt like I'm in a popcorn maker and everything's popping off. New, so much new in such a compressed amount of time. It's boggling my mind a little bit. New headphones, pink. Like what? Pink's apparently one of my new favorite colors. New favorite color, pink. I used to live in black, and now I'm like, I gotta get rid of all the black and get into some pink clothes. I ordered myself some pink sweatpants. New headphone, new website, new programming, Shopify, trying to get my head around that one, and Vizard, trying to get my head around that one, and Descript, trying to get my head around that one. New experiences. I brought Fiona on my car to the car wash, and she's looking all sparkly and white again. She looks lovely. That was a new experience. I've never done that. I also had to get her summer tires on, so she's styling now. It's another new experience. New energy flowing in at a rapid rate. Creativity. Yes, I love being in creativity. And I did something. I learned the lesson again. Never say never, because I know the last time I talked about this, I said never. I said, I'll never do that. And Spirit is up there laughing in hysterics at me because I said I would never go on a dating app. Oh my God, it's true. I have a dating profile. Yeah. I'm just laughing. I'm just finding it hilarious because 2 weeks ago I was like, no, never. And then I'm getting this nudge from Spirit. Just try, just get it there, socialize. Enough of this loneliness. You've been in loneliness for a really long time. Just having conversation isn't a big deal. Just start there. It's not like you have to marry any of these people, because I'll never do that again. See, I say the word never. Spirit might prove me wrong. If I've got to learn not to use the word never, because Spirit definitely will prove you're wrong. So yes, I created myself a Facebook dating profile, and it's not very inviting, I gotta say. It's funny because, first of all, I haven't dated since 2008. That was the last time I went on a date. Okay. And that was when I used to live in Ireland. And then I met my ex-husband when I was home for holiday one summer at a friend's engagement party. I met him there, and then one thing led to another, and I was trapped in a lovely karmic cycle. I hope you can't hear the wind. It's whistling. I've brought you down to my new view. The ice just melted last week, so that's new. I've been enjoying watching the fishermen go by, and I bought myself a new fishing rod. I haven't gone fishing in over 40 years. I'm not very good at the casting. I have to improve my skills. I went out this morning to see. As I was fishing, I was like, I might as well fish for a little bit more than fish. Why not? Why not? Yeah, so my uninviting profile, which is, it asks, what are you looking for? And I'm like, if there had been a button before it that had just said nothing but I'll observe, I would have picked that one. So I picked the chatting one. Let's start there. Let's not start with lifelong commitments. How about just hello? We start with hello. And then I proceeded in saying, listen, if you're looking for a normal woman, I'm not it. I am weird. I am neurospicy. I don't do small talk. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do half the things that like would be a normal date. Like you can't take me out to a restaurant because I barely eat half the food. But I'm like, whatever. I was cracking jokes through it. So either they're going to think I'm funny and amusing, or they're going to think, no, this one's a little bit out there. I even had a Kundalini awakening and have lived like a monk for the last 4 years. So I'm not going to try to be somebody else. In years past, as I said, back in 2008, I dated, and when you go onto a dating profile, it's really about an egoic persona, or at least it was for me. I have to make myself look desirable, and no, I'm just gonna show like raw photos. Crazy me in my white jumper with my silly ears. There's 0 point in me trying to look like something I'm not. So I'm just gonna put it out there and see what happens. Already, I've had a lot of interest, which I think it's like fresh meat getting thrown into a pond of piranha. So lots of likes, but that doesn't mean anything. I think it's hilarious when 25-year-old and 27-year-old men are like, oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, calm down, little boy. Go home to mommy. I'm not what you're looking for. There's not going to be any casual hookups here. Keep on trucking. And this came up into conversation in our last Spiritual Warriors support group enlightenment book meeting, because we were talking about polarity in that meeting. And there is the polarity of feminine and masculine energy, and we all have that within us. What is the definition of divine masculine and divine feminine energy, as well as what is the definition of what is wounded or distorted or toxic masculinity, as well as distorted, wounded, or toxic femininity? We all have these energies. And so one of the things that I've been cultivating along my awakening path is trying to balance those two energies and trying to reconnect with my feminine, because through most of my awakening, I had to be in masculine energy. I had to be in the energy of the spiritual warrior to escape from the abusive situation. So that meant I was really in my power, action-oriented, masculine energy, protective, to help get me out. And now that I am out and have been learning over the last few months to cultivate a regulated nervous system and to learn to feel safe for the first time in my life, which every single day I sink more into that feminine feeling of receptivity. So one of my rules, and I'm looking at this as like a social experiment. I'm not desperately seeking my life's partner, but if I approach it, hey, this could be a learning ground for me to spar. When I say spar, I don't mean fight, but I learn communication skills, learn what I like, learn what I don't like, learn what appeals to me, learn what doesn't appeal to me. And one of the thing is, I'm not interested in chasing after anybody. Just because you got like a cute little profile, I'm not doing that again. Not after the twin flame journey where I was like chasing after, please pay attention to me. Whoa! Like that. No, I will never chase again. So just because somebody likes me means diddly squat is my point, because that would require me to initiate the first move. I will match energy. As a feminine, I will match what is shown up. So if somebody shows up and they like me, which is like a little heart, and I like them, they look presentable, they don't smoke, they don't drink, preferably no children, or at least no young children. I don't want to raise any children again. I've been there, done that. Older children, fine. But if they meet my criteria, I might like them back. Why not? And then if they initiate conversation, I will reciprocate, right? So being in feminine energy is about learning how to receive and learning how to reciprocate or amplify, because the feminine takes, receives, and amplifies out. I even heard the other day, literally, she takes the seed and makes a baby. That's an amplification of a seed, right? That's a huge amplification that takes a long time. So whatever is given to me, I will amplify out. And if something is given to me that's ick, I'm going to amplify out. Like, that's a hard no. That's going to amplify out like a wider space, and no, not interested. If they come in with energy that is pleasant, enjoyable, I'll amplify back out and see. I've had 2 people already in like less than 24 hours, which is hilarious. And one is like strictly just a chatting guy, but he's really into conspiracy theories. So I was like, sure, we can talk about the moon landing. I can amplify that back at you. And this other gentleman has come in and nothing like I've ever really experienced before. Very complimentary, not love bombing though, but very complimentary, and already called me princess. And I'm like, who are you talking about? Where's the princess? I've never been called princess in my life. I was not daddy's princess or anything like that. And even in my marriage, I was woman. Narcissists love to devalue you, and you can't get much more devalued for pet names than woman. I could have been called human. But yes, my pet name in my marriage was woman. And I was like, yeah, great, thanks. That's not very personal, is it? It's not very complimentary. It's hindsight's 2020. You can look back and go, oh my God, why did I put up with such stupidity? But while you're in it, the amount of cognitive dissonance that you experience in these types of marriages is insanity. It's insanity. It's all kinds of crazy. So I have one gentleman that's calling me princess, already asked me out on a date, and I was like, whoa, cowboy. We're not going out on any dates yet. Let's like figure each other out a little bit. That's a huge commitment. A meal or a coffee or a walk. I'm finding it amusing. It's new, okay? It is new. It's something that Spirit wants me to do. Everything is new. I am new. My view is new. My life is new. So why not see what human interaction can feel like in this new energy? As I said, like sparring partners, let's practice. Let's see what works. And that's a very different energy than I've ever come at dating before. I've said in previous videos that without question, what I have wanted most in my entire life was to be loved and to find love. I've been looking for it in all of the wrong places. Even as far back as I can remember, like in kindergarten, I had a mad crush on these 2 Jewish boys. They were just adorable, and I was like, I'll become Jewish. And that's just it. When I look back at my dating experiences as a child from a narcissistic household, it has always been, what can I do to conform myself to be desirable for you? And whether that would be become Jewish. And I would have in junior kindergarten. I was very serious about that. Or whether that meant moving. I've moved multiple times for men, and I'll never, ever do that again. I will never do that again. Oh, damn, I'm saying never. I really do not want to do that. I would like a man to move to me as opposed to me moving towards a man. As I said, it's learning to not chase and learning to receive what I'm worth. And I've learned along this awakening path that, man, I'm worth a lot. Like, what I've accomplished is pretty fucking amazing. And I'm gonna be proud of myself for it because what I survived was unreal. And all of the things I had to do in order to survive is pretty unreal. A lot of people struggle with just quitting smoking, and quitting smoking was like one of 50 things on my list that I had to go through, endure, quit, change, alter, shift. I know that my where my value lies now. And when I was in junior kindergarten, I didn't have any value. I was like, please buy me, please take me home, please take me off the shelf. I have an image of a rummage sale in the basement of a church and people just pawing through trash materials because basically that was the indoctrination that I always got, was that I was trash. And now I know I am actually more like a museum piece. And I say this because you'll be the same. When we learn our true value, I belong in a museum where there is one of those little plexiglass domes over top of me that's locked with security guards standing by. That's my masculine energy. And maybe some of those red lasers so that people can't get too close to me. They can just admire from afar. I'm I'm a rare gem. There's nobody else like me. And I used to think that was a really bad thing. I needed to be more like others. I needed to be more womanly or dress like women, wear women's makeup, flip and shave my legs. Yeah, that's not even happening. God made me this way. God made me autistic, neurospicy, weird, hyper focused on health and wellness with my special interest topics that I could talk and talk and talk and talk for hours. But please don't put me in a social environment where I have to do small talk. I'll go insane. That's why I used to drink, because for me, as an autistic woman with social anxiety and a lot of trauma as a child, I didn't know how to socialize. Right. So this is new energy, and the world is asking me to socialize a little bit more. And this is one way for me to have some social engagement with the masculine. I have social engagement with my groups, mostly women, not all, but mostly women. And I've been learning over time what it's like to socially engage with women. And I've actually hired a cranial sacral massage therapist as well as a Chinese massage therapist that are women that I can interact with in the physical, that provides me with new neural pathways of what it's like to have kind feminine energy, soft touch. Like the other day, I had a cranial sacral massage, and she had one hand under my sacrum and one hand under my neck. And she was just holding me and regulating my energy, regulating my nervous system. And the tears just started flooding because I can't even remember the last time I was held in that way, held in safety and security and nurturance. Maybe before I was adopted, maybe when I was 2. This new energy, once you go through all this like massive healing, this new energy that we are in, we have to learn new ways of being and new ways of interacting with people. So spirit is kind of nudging me to have new connections with women, because I was terrified of women. To me, it was safer to be around men, even if in the toxicity, because men could hurt my body, but they couldn't fuck up my mind, or so I thought. I was wrong about that too. But I thought women were much more manipulative and scary, and like being in groups or cliques or in gossip energy. As a young person, I was like, this is uncomfortable. I'd rather get drunk with the boys watching hockey, even though I had no interest in hockey or anything like that. I have to learn what it is to interact with humans now from a much higher vibration, because I've cleared out and done so much healing work over the last 6 years. The amount of healing work I've done is insane. facing all the shadows, facing all the inner wounds, soul retrieval, bringing everything back together into wholeness. And so now Spirit's saying, okay, you've done the inner work. Now it's time to do some of the outer work. And that means learning how to interact with females and be like, oh, okay, I'm safe here in this room with you. Nothing horrible is going to happen. The hypervigilance can get toned down. The being constantly on guard can be toned down. The trust can start to increase. And now Spirit's saying, okay, now I want you also to interact with masculine energy and see what vibes with you and what doesn't. And through my awakening process, there's been all these what I call tests. Okay, some people might say not everything's a test, and I'm like, yes it is. Absolutely, yes it is. And so these tests come in, and is this what you like? Are you going to tolerate this? And you're like, it's good, it's got this good stuff, because nobody is like all good or all bad. Everybody's got all these different shades of gray. And so do you like pewter, friends? And I'm like, no, pewter's not really my jam. I'd like to get a little closer to silver. In would come some pewter, and then in would come some, I don't know, what's another shade of gray, some steel gray, and you'd be like, yeah, no, that's not quite it either. And then it's getting closer and closer to a lighter shade of gray that I'm like, yeah, this is more my vibe. There's less shadow in this person here. They've done a lot of their healing work. They've done a lot of clearing. Now the same is going to be a lesson of learning what it's like to interact with masculines and what vibes well and what doesn't, because my experience with dating throughout my life has been actually one of my biggest regrets. I know people say, oh, you shouldn't regret anything. Stop telling me what I should or shouldn't do, first of all. And on an awakening journey, you're going to have to process through all of your emotions, which means processing through your regrets as well. And I do regret how I treated my body. I do regret how I interacted with men, but I didn't know any better. So I have forgiven myself for that, in the sense that I was raised to believe I was trash. So nobody ever told me that I was sacred. Nobody ever told me that I was like of the light and one of God's children. I didn't get that kind of messaging. I got the other kind of messaging. I learned codependence, and I learned that I need to sell myself on some degree so that I can get the attention that I want. And that's the inner prostitute, which we all have. And when I say prostitute, I don't mean a street worker. We all have 4 archetypes, and we have many more, but we all have the shared 4 archetypes, which is the inner child, the inner victim, the inner saboteur, and the inner prostitute. Of what are you willing to settle for? My marriage was settling. It was 100% settling, and that's what like drives me nuts. Is I settled because, and even I can remember like many times, like my mother would say, it's obviously you're not going to get any better than this, so you might as well just. What a horrible thing to say to your daughter. Like, maybe had they not been both narcissistic, and I think that narcissistic people can see each other, smell each other. They're like ants or something, and they're like, I have a lot of theories about that. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess this is the best I can do. And so then I was like, if this is the best I can do, then, well, I guess I better just tolerate all this bullshit. And when the bullshit just kept getting worse and worse, my degree of toleration required all these coping mechanisms to glue it all together. One thing I have learned through that process is I'll never, ever settle for anyone. I'd rather be alone. I've mastered being alone. I can handle being lonely. I can handle grief. I can handle like anything on my own. I've learned that. So I will never, ever settle. And I deserve 10 out of 10. Another theory for relationship is that you should compromise. I'm not fucking compromising on anything. Like, if somebody else said, listen, I need these qualities for you to be in my life, and you only have 8 or 10 of them, and you need to make myself smaller so that I can fit in their box, then I'm not the right person. And equally vice versa. Listen, if you can't show up in the energies that I require, and it's not saying I'm not willing to learn or better myself. I will absolutely learn to better myself. That's what I do. That's what I always do. Is I'm always bettering myself. So if somebody said, "Hey, let's go and make your muscle strength stronger and go to the gym," then I'd be like, "Sure, I'll give it a try. It's not going to hurt me." If something's for my betterment, that's different. But if I said, for example, I need loyalty, that is one of my needs. I need loyalty, and they were, no, I'm more into polygamy, then I'd be like, okay, adios, amigo. No, I'm not going to tolerate less because you can't step up to what I need. My new philosophy for dating is 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I'm looking for my 10 out of 10 soulmate. Do I think I'm going to meet them on Facebook Marketplace? Hells no. But I won't say never. I've learned my lesson about saying never. I'm going to open myself. I'm going to open my heart space to the possibility that love exists and allow myself to receive and allow myself to trust that it is safe to love again. It's safe. And because I have cultivated so much of my own masculine energy, I know that if I get the intuitive hits, the discernment that something smells off, something feels off, that I have the capacity to protect myself. So I don't need to trust people. No, I'm going to keep that at like low, which is again opposite to what I ever did before, which I used to always start with 100% trust and let people slowly lose it. And I'm going to be, no, I start with 0% trust and people can slowly earn it. It's what they can do. So new, I find it funny. I've got my wiggle back and I've been listening to my Spanish music and having a vibe today, cleaning up, going, just why the hell not? I think I'm done hermiting and there's no harm in having conversation. There's no harm in opening myself up to whatever God wants to send my way. So I guess today's lesson is that there is life after an awakening. It's just beginning. God knows what's going to happen, but I'm liking this. The ice is melted, and I have so far ducks, geese, and otters. There's a family of otters that live under my dock, which is super cool. It's heavenly. It really is. This is new vibe. This is new energy. This is the first time I've really felt safe. I feel secure. I feel confident, even though that's still being offset by a good degree of fear about stepping fully into my purpose. I feel curious. I feel excited. These are all new energies for me that I haven't experienced in years. I feel creative. I feel laughter. I feel ready to crack some jokes. And there's actually nothing better than dating to get fodder for some good comedy. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Ba-dum-bum. I'm ready for it. Bring it. I'm ready to start writing. I've written one chapter of my book and I'm ready to create more projects and see where life takes me. With that all said, I'm sending everybody my absolute love out there, no matter what stage you're at on this awakening process. Just keep going, and eventually the tears run out, and eventually the loneliness subsides, and eventually the grief's still there, but like it'll be a lot less. Eventually you will get through it. Nothing lasts forever. This too shall pass. Remember all of those. And if you need help, please feel free to join the Spiritual Warrior Support Group Zoom meeting on Wednesday for an open discussion, on Fridays for a prompted discussion from the teachings of the Tao Te Ching, and book a one-on-one if you're needing even more support. And with that all said, peace in, everybody.